still be shit.
Yeah, but I think it would be good if we heard it from your perspective because, I don't know, anyone can just read a book about parenting, but if you get it straight from the source, that's usually when it's the best.
I caught throw up in my hand and then threw up in my wife's hand.
You threw up in your wife's hand or the baby did?
I should have. I should have puked after he puked. It would have been epic.
Mm.
You remind me.
Welcome to the Loaded Box Podcast,
where we never finish first because we finish last.
Thank you once again for tuning in to the Loaded Box Podcast. I am Ben. That is DJ. DJ, why don't you want to do a parenting advice segment? I think that'd be good each week.
Because I don't want people to know how shitty of a parent I am.
Yeah, but you could be like innovative with this. This could be a real thing. Like you could do like it could be a real obvious answer to the parenting advice, but instead of giving the obvious answer, I feel like you could make like a good spin on it and take it a whole different direction. And
I can tell you,
like you could be like an innovative parent. You could change the game.
I can tell you that. It wouldn't be the same as anybody else.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I think it'd be good.
That's what I'm saying.
I got a special request from you that you're looking to do a quick rant to begin the podcast.
Yeah. I'm pretty excited about this one. Thought about this the other night. We have gone on the record as an anti-Matthew Berry podcast. So I decided to track. I was gonna do a love-hate tracker. So it's a fuck Matthew Berry love-hate tracker. But I'm only gonna do love. Only do the loves because I feel like the hates are easy. You just pick an average player on a team against a good defense, and they're going to suck that week. I mean, anybody can do that. So I want to pick out the loves who he's telling you to play, and just see how bad he is compared to the smaller outlets, and how much better we are. So
yeah.
I'm just
So
go through.
One more quick backstory. So in case you haven't heard the podcast much before this, we are blocked by Matthew Berry on Twitter. Our podcast account is @LoadedBox. DJ is blocked by him. I think you're the reason that we got blocked. I'm pretty sure that you were just tagging him in a bunch of just crazy shit.
Yeah, I was going after him.
And he had enough, and then he saw that you were part of the podcast, and then he blocked every single account that was tied to it. So
don't hold back. Bad
No.
boys of fantasy football.
Give him all your hate here.
All right, so this one was the first one he had. I'm just going to try to run through them as quick, but it was Aaron Rodgers. He had 16.5 points, 13 among quarterbacks. But you know what? In my opinion, doesn't fucking count. You can't put Aaron Rodgers on your love-hate list.
Yeah, that's cheating.
So, and he almost never does that, and I'm pissed because he's a little bitch. That's a little bitch move. So next he went with Marcus Mariota, 18.84, 6 among quarterbacks. I counted that as a hit, obviously, but he was saved by that rushing touchdown.
Yep.
If not for that rushing touchdown, he misses that one. Oh, and I want to say, I did want to add this. So I'm taking my points for this ESPN guy based off of NFL.com scoring.
Gotta.
Just to shove it a little farther up his ass.
Take that, Jameel Hill.
Yeah, this is an NFL.com scoring right here. So then he slumped Carson Palmer, his third quarterback, 8.96 points, 23 among quarterbacks, huge miss, garbage feet, you suck, he's washed. Then next up, Melvin Gordon, 13.9, 11th among running backs, another kind of saved by that passing touchdown. I called that okay. I think I counted that as a hit on my final count, so I gave him the benefit of the doubt on that one. Then Christian McCaffrey, I know lots of people are hard on him. He had on his love list. I was real down on him. 6.5, 33rd among running backs. Huge miss again. Todd Gurley, 15.6, 6 small running backs, a hit. Bilal Powell, this is where we go on the road of misses. Bilal Powell, 3.9, 43rd among running backs, miss. Rob Kelly, 3 points, 49th among running backs, miss.
What's he doing putting Bilal Powell and Rob Kelly on a love
and
list?
Rob Kelly, because he's a Washington Redskins fan. That's like, when you're a Washington Redskins fan, you can't, it's just annoying. It's such a homer thing.
We've talked about this before, and I feel like since he has that platform, I basically think that he he just doesn't put that much research into it and just pick some names. Like, I feel like there's no research into that. Why are you picking a Jet and a Redskin running back?
That, and I think he holds back information as well. So, yeah, I don't know. I have no reason for it. Rob Kelly, 3 points, 49th among running backs, miss. Adrian Peterson, 1.8 points, 62nd among running backs. I take the wide receivers, miss. Larry Fitzgerald, 7.4, 26th among wide receivers, miss. Chedkin Jr., 5.8, 40th among wide receivers, miss. Then he put both Adam Thielen and Stephon Diggs, 1st and 5th among wide receivers. Gave him a big hit on that one. Best one, definitely by far. I count that as one. Martavis Bryant, 1.4, 77th, miss. Come on, Ben Roethlisberger on the road? Wait, you think I was going to stop? Come on. And then Brandon Marshall, 1 fucking point, 86th among wide receivers.
Yeah. And
he hit on 4 of 14.
Oh, and Marshall got his 1 catch for 10 yards on the second to last play of the game.
Yeah, so far, so good for the fuck Matthew Berry crowd.
Yeah, so fuck Matt Berry. You know what though? It sucks that we have to follow it up with this segment, our Pick 6 segment, because we didn't really hit that well either.
No, we didn't. But you know what?
At least
Here's what I say about that: is the fact that me and you are so good at this is that we lose and win with Vegas.
Right, that's the thing.
Yeah.
And then,
positive twist, positive spin.
Yeah, so this is our Pick 6 segment where we pick 3 games. So we each went 1 and 2 last week, which is far from stellar. Do you wanna lead it off? What do you think?
I think. Do you have only 3?
Yeah, I have 3.
I'd like to hear your 3 first. I've got 4 on here, so I can maybe eliminate one.
You know what you can do, and I told this to a couple people. So you can have 3 that'll go for the record, and you can give out a bonus pick because we had some unhappy people when we backed it from 6 to 3.
Yeah.
So bonus picks are gonna be appreciated.
All right, I'll give a bonus pick then.
All right.
So I think the obvious one, I think both you and I'm going to guess. We don't know each other's picks so far.
Did you tell me that I can go and then you just decided to go?
No, I'm going to go. So I thought your argument was to make me go.
No.
So I'm assuming that you made this pick just because of what happened last week and how embarrassed they were. Pats -6 at New Orleans.
Not touching it.
What?
I'm not touching it.
Not touching it. How do you not? Tom Brady's angry. Bill Belichick's pissed. New Orleans has the worst defense ever. They didn't look so hot. What was that, Monday night against the Vikings? Although they were playing solid defenses still. Defenses are kind of ahead of offenses still at this point. I'm going to take Tom Brady in that Patriots offense coming off a loss. -6 at New Orleans. I expect a blowout in this game.
Don't you think the same could be said for Sean Payton and Drew Brees, though? Like, aren't they going to be pissed off? I mean, Belichick and Brady are.
Yeah, but their pissed off isn't Tom Brady's pissed off. I mean, they don't go to the Super Bowl every fucking year.
Facts.
Yeah. So
all right, so you've got the Patriots. What was their spread?
-6. I think that's a lock. I think that's my stone cold lock of the week.
Oh, great.
I think I stole some saying there, but that's my lock of the week right there.
Okay.
Next, I'm going Philly +6 at Kansas City. I know Kansas City play awesome. Everybody's power ranking them up high, and I think Vegas knows that. I think Vegas understands. Oh shit, let's give them a spread, get everybody to. Oh shit, maybe I'm wrong. I'm going against what I'm saying, actually. But I don't imagine that Philadelphia, with the defense that they had, the way the defense was playing, Carson Wentz improving for now, looked good. I can't imagine that they don't keep it close. I think it's going to be more of a defensive battle than anything. So I don't see this being a high-scoring game, and 6 points is just too much for me against 2, I think, solid teams at this point in the year.
Yeah, I think 6 points would be too much there. Like you said, Kansas City's like the ultimate hype train right now.
Yeah.
Alex Smith has all of a sudden turned into like the best quarterback in the AFC. The Kansas City Chiefs are now like the favorite to win the entire AFC. Kareem Hunt's already the rookie of the year.
Yeah.
Tyreek Hill is the next Jerry Rice.
Jesus.
Like, people are just going bananas about this team right now. So, like you said, if you're going to catch a line that might be a little bit overinflated, and like you said, the Eagles have a good defense. So you're not getting just a cupcake here. So
Deshaun Watson just tried to throw a pick 6 there.
Yep, it's a great on the podcast we have no video, so it's a good thing that we can do the play-by-play.
It was just awful. People can see it. All right, and then my third one, I'll get the bonus after you go.
Okay.
My third one is, I got this one. Getting only 1 point at Jacksonville.
You want to just start over with that one? Because I missed you.
Yeah, white people. Titans -1 at Jacksonville. I'm getting 1 point against the Jags, who beat the Texans, who I think are garbage.
When did you find the lines for this one?
Right, unless I was wrong, I found it on the same one that we looked.
I'm saying what day, because it changes by the day. I looked last night and it was -2. That's why I'm asking.
Oh, I looked today.
Okay, I'll change mine then.
-1 today. I had the Titans -1 on Thursday. I have the Jaguars. So I can't not take that. I don't know. This seems like an easy. I don't know if this is too good to be true. I must be dumb. I don't know what Vegas is seeing, but -1. The Titans are going to be, I think, a playoff team this year. They do have a struggling defense, but they're not going to lose to the Jaguars, and I don't think it's really even going to be that close. I still don't think the Jags are a playoff caliber team where I think the Titans can be challenging for the AFC Championship this year. So that seemed to be an easy one for me.
Yeah, I think that's a perfect segue into mine because I also have the Titans. I had them at -2, but I'm more than fine with -1, so I'm going to switch it to be even with you. Like I said, I looked at the lines last night, but yeah, there's no way that Jacksonville is as good as the 29-point performance that they put up last week. So Blake Bortles, your favorite quarterback here, in that game, 11 completions, 125 yards. Everyone's freaking out about Leonard Fournette because he had 100 yards. He still averaged under 4 yards per carry, so let's not go crazy.
Yeah.
And then they lost Allen Robinson for the year. Of those 29 points, there was 2 defensive touchdowns. And even though the Titans lost, they played one of the best teams in the AFC in Oakland. So, yeah, Jacksonville's defense is pretty good. But I think there's a big difference between their two opponents. There's a big difference between Tennessee and Houston. So, the team that I have winning the AFC South is the Titans, and they're not going to start 0-2 this year. I think they win by more than a field goal. And obviously you agree with me since that's one of yours as well.
Yep.
So my second one in the Pick 6 segment is the Washington racial slurs. +2.5 against the LA Rams. The Rams are another team that just wasn't as good as that Week 1 score is going to show. They just slaughtered the Colts. And before I move on, can we talk a little bit about Chuck Pagano not remembering which team he's playing?
What do you want to say about it? I don't know if I think it's just error in what he was saying. I don't know if it was forgetting who he played.
So I think Le Batard said it best. If Belichick says that, he's fine. He just gets a whoops moment. I said the wrong thing. Yeah. But when the world is falling down in Indianapolis and then the coach says something like that, dude, pack your bags. You're gone.
Yeah.
I mean, you just can't come back from that.
I thought he actually might be fired this week anyways. But I think it'll be...
I feel like he might get sort of a pass right away.
Because of Andrew Luck?
Because of the whole Luck situation.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say there.
Yeah.
Fuck him.
But as I was saying about those Rams last week, so they had 2 defensive touchdowns and they got a safety against the Colts without Andrew Luck in their crappy offense. So yeah, Jared Goff did throw over 300 yards. He only had 8 completions. But that Colts defense, it was just as crappy as their offense, and they didn't have their best cornerback in Vontae Davis. So I don't think the Redskins are a team that's going to run away with anything, but they did stay close to the Eagles last week, and the Eagles defense is really good as well. So I don't think running into the Rams now is going to be some huge test for them. And yeah, the game is at the Rams, and I don't typically like betting on road teams, but the Rams' home field advantage in Los Angeles is hardly a home field. So if I'm getting points on this, I'm going to take the Skins outright.
Skins. You still there?
Yep.
Yeah, 2.5.
Getting 2.5, yeah.
I don't know that I'm on the same side as you in this game. I saw that game. It made me nervous. The Rams actually look solid, and I hate Washington, and I hate Kirk Cousins. So I'm almost erring on the side of the Rams at home this week.
Yeah, but they look solid because they played, like, the kids that play out in the yard here in my backyard, like that's who they're playing against. They're not playing against anyone. That team was atrocious. The coach forgot who they were playing.
Yeah, but Washington is just, they haven't looked good since the get-go, since preseason to now. It's just, and the defense for the Rams is actually pretty good.
And they do have Aaron Donald back now, I believe.
Yeah, and I feel like Kirk Cousins is going to get his shit pushed in again.
Getting aggressive with it.
His shit pushed in real good.
Well, my last one here, I got another dog. I got the Buffalo Bills +7 at Carolina. My biggest concern for this one is the fact that Carolina's front seven is the strength of their defense, and the Bills' run game is the strength of its offense. So that's quite the matchup that they're going to have. But I'm not really. Yeah. Did you just yell something?
Well, I was gonna comment off of what you said. But
go ahead. No, you can go. I like the back and forth.
It was. I know the strength is their run game and Carolina's run defense, but Tyrod's in my opinion, he's no slouch in being able to pass. I think the Jets' strength is their run defense. I think that's the only thing they're good at. I guess they weren't as good this week, as they were last year, but I still think they were pretty solid. That's the one thing that they focus on. And I think Tyrod can throw the ball, and I think his value is high this week, too.
I'm not all out dogging Tyrod. What I'm scared about Tyrod right now is just the weapons once they took away Sammy Watkins. He's kind of
another good Charles Clay week.
That is, yeah, probably is. But he's probably a little bit used to that because obviously he hasn't had Watkins healthy pretty much in his entire time in Buffalo. But I don't know. I just feel like that's going to be like the main matchup in this game. And
absolutely.
But in regards to the Panthers, not sold on their offense at all after watching that Week 1 game.
No.
Newton had under 200 yards. He averaged 7 yards per completion, which is like Alex Smith-esque numbers. Both Jonathan Stewart and McCaffrey were held to under 4 yards per carry. Benjamin, who was everyone's bounce-back receiver, had 1 catch. Greg Olsen, who's usually a really consistent tight end, had 2 catches. And I know that the 49ers defense is pretty legit, but you shouldn't get shut down completely like that. And what I wanted to say about the Bills in regards to that was, so last week against Carolina's front seven, Carlos Hyde for the 49ers still averaged 5 yards per carry. And McCoy was going against the good Jets running defense, and he had 110 yards. So I think as long as Buffalo can keep it close, they don't abandon the run. They keep sticking it, giving it to McCoy, give it to Tolbert, play the clock a little bit. This game is going to stay within a touchdown for me, and I don't even think it would be that big of an upset if Buffalo won it outright.
I think this is Jay Stu's team. This is his world, and McCaffrey's just living in it.
There was some report that McCaffrey was going to kind of like see his snaps limited just to keep him fresh. Because I wanted to talk to you about this too. Dalvin Cook is going to get fed this year.
Oh yeah, definitely.
We
were both talking about that all year. We argued we got to get Mitch Renz on to go after him.
Yeah.
We were both high on Dalvin Cook coming into the season.
Yeah, but what week is he going to hit that rookie wall? That's what I'm wondering.
I'm not sure.
Great analysis.
I mean, if you're getting consistent carries, I don't know. I don't know if you'll necessarily hit her. He's still got. Is Latavius Murray playing?
Yeah, he got his first carry last week and then he fumbled on it, and then he immediately came out of the game and they put Cook back in. That's why I think Cook's usage is just going to be huge.
He has a chance for McKinnon and Murray to spell him.
Dude, are you wearing a blanket right now?
Yeah.
Oh, you are so soft.
Yeah, so he has a chance for McKinnon and Murray to spell him as the year goes on as well.
Yeah, but I'm fine with that. But I'm just saying, I think I don't think it's a very close comparison. I think he's so much more dynamic than both of those guys right now.
But so he doesn't have to play every goddamn snap.
He's still going to hit a wall. That's all I was asking you. I'm asking you to have a take, and all you could say is, I don't know. That's all you could say.
There's no take. I don't
have a take. What week does he hit the rookie wall?
No weeks.
Say a number.
0.
You are a pile.
I missed all that.
Good. Let's move on to some daily fantasy lineups. How did yours go last week? You all right with a couple of your picks?
I don't think it was that good. I'm not happy about it. I stopped paying attention to it real quick.
Yeah, I had a couple of decent guys. Shockingly, my best one, I took the Rams defense.
I took
They were on
Charles
fire.
Clay, who was solid, and whose defense did I take? I think I had a solid defense, but I can't remember who it was either. It's a good defense week, though.
Oh my gosh, absolutely. If you took the Jaguars, the Rams, the Ravens, any of those, you'd have been fine.
Yep.
I'm thinking that this week for defenses, I don't want to spend too much time on defenses, but I'm all about picking the Ravens again this week. They play against Cleveland. I don't think Cleveland's straight trash, but I think the Ravens' defense is pretty solid, and I don't think a rookie quarterback's going to do that well against them.
Yeah, that's probably a good pick. I'm looking at the Chargers against Jay Cutler.
Oh, wow, really?
Yeah, I love it.
That must be a hell of a bargain. What are they, like $2,000?
$4,300, but I kind of go against myself later in this in this talk. So
Nice. Well, a couple of guys.
Oh, I didn't get my bonus pick.
Oh yeah, give your bonus pick.
I go against myself right now. It was Miami Dolphins, Los Angeles Chargers over 45.5.
Why do you like the over? Are you scared of Miami being flat with this being their first week and not literally having basically like 2 bye weeks? Because if you think about it, the players that are playing in this game really didn't play in the 4th preseason game.
Yeah, but they're also the Chargers are going to be 1 week ahead chemistry wise offensively.
Yeah.
So I just like the Dolphins. Just their D-backs has been their weakness. I think it's going to continue to be their weakness until it throws the balls around. I expect Keenan Allen to eat this week. Eat.
Yeah, me too. I
Eat
did.
This week.
I
I think Miami will be able to keep some of those. I know they're going to run the ball more than they're going to run the ball a lot. That's what's going to happen. And it's going to keep those guys at bay, and then Jay Cutler is going to probably just try to air out Devontae Parker a bunch. So I expect it to be a pretty high-scoring football game. I think like 34-15 Chargers.
I'm interested to see how the Dolphins get to their 15. If I have to spend 3 hours watching that shit on Sunday, I'm going to be pretty upset. I did my article for the Finsiders this week, and I did a 5 players that'll basically determine the outcome of that game. And I think obviously the Chargers have a lot of skill players, but I picked Keenan Allen just because of like what you said. The Dolphins secondary is young and it's inconsistent. And I said Keenan Allen will beat you with his route running and his consistency. Last Monday was the first time in Keenan Allen's career he had 2 drops in the same game. So his consistency alone right there is, I don't know, it's good. It's the fact that when he's healthy, that's what you need out of Keenan Allen. When he's healthy, he's fine.
He's being consistently underlooked because he's had freak injuries, and I picked him up. I drafted him in 2 leagues, and I'm pumped about it.
Yeah. And I was kind of opposite though, because I said for the Dolphins of their skill players that it would be Landry, because the Chargers have Bosa and Melvin Ingram coming along the edge. And the Dolphins' tackles, the whole situation's a little bit questionable there.
You just argued my point.
No, what I'm saying, though, it's going to take – they're not going to have time to develop plays and go deep. I think it's going to be more –
Yeah, that's exactly when Jay Cutler just throws the ball in the air outside the numbers.
I don't think it's going to happen, though, with Gase reeling him in. I think it's going to be Jarvis Landry slants across the middle, quick outs. I think it's going to be more of a Landry game than it's going to be a Parker game.
Jay Cutler can't throw slants in across the middle to short. He only knows to throw it high and outside the numbers to his tall outside receiver when he's getting pressure.
Well, give it time.
The ball is going to be in the air for a long time, and you are going to be shitting in your pants a lot.
I can't wait, dude. I'm pretty excited for Sunday. I'm not going to lie.
Dude, I don't know how many times the ball is going to be in the air for like 5 seconds, and you have no idea what's going to happen.
It's going to be sweet.
It's going to be awesome, and it's not going to be off the punting game.
Yeah.
Hey, but you know what? Look at it this way. Cutler had his best fantasy performance he's going to have all year last week.
Oh, that's a real dick move.
Yeah. So be excited for that. Dolphins fans are coming off real hot. Cutler had his best performance he'll have all year last week. It's a good week for the Dolphin fans.
Yeah, man. I mean, Irma cost some people their lives, but I think Irma might have saved some lives
Yeah,
the Dolphins
for sure.
fans.
You don't have to kill yourselves watching Jay Cutler.
Exactly.
It's a good week for Jay Cutler.
Thanks for finishing that one for
him and
me.
Andy Dalton, I would have started him over Andy Dalton last week for sure.
Oh, yeah. Fuck Andy Dalton.
Fuck Andy Dalton.
Some quarterbacks that I like this week in daily fantasy. So, Sam Bradford had a hell of a week last week, correct?
Yeah.
He's only $7,100 this week at Pittsburgh, and I think that I'm kind of one of those guys that when you think about fantasy players, you have a guy that has a great week. It's probably best to avoid him the next week just because of like the natural regression. But also you have that ability where, and I think this is really good with like pass rushers, that if you get a sack, sometimes people just get into a groove and you go like 3 weeks in a row getting sacks. And I think that happens with touchdowns too, but it's a real fine line as to which skill players can do that, like in regards to like touchdowns and fantasy points. And I don't think that Sam Bradford is that type of quarterback who's going to have one great week and follow it up with another. That's why I'm thinking that this might be not the best pick, but he did have 25.5 points last week, but it'll be interesting to see if he can do it against someone other than the Saints.
Sam Bradford is Alex Smith, and Alex Smith is Sam Bradford.
The transitive property.
Percentage, what?
The transitive property.
Yeah. Everybody talks about his completion percentage and all this stuff from last year, but yet they went 8-8, and fantasy-wise, he wasn't good. He wasn't somebody you want on your team. It's because he's throwing short, easy passes, and he's accurate short for the most part. He did hit some good bombs last week, but for the most part, I mean, he plays it safe.
Yeah.
You know, he's not one to air it out downfield. He's got Stephon Diggs, a good route runner. He's got Thielen, who's a good slot wide receiver, and then he throws it to those running backs. And Kyle Rudolph as well, short and over the middle. It's just he's not going to air it out. He throws it safe. He doesn't make a lot of mistakes, but that's not a guy who's going to win you a lot of games. He's Alex Smith.
Right. And when I saw him at 7,100, I'm like, oh my God, that's going to be the cheapest quarterback that I can get away with this week. Because a lot of the good quarterbacks have some tougher matchups, but then you also have like Ryan and Rodgers, who are probably slated to have some pretty good weeks, but they're super expensive. So if you want to go expensive at quarterback, obviously you can go with that route because their matchups are pretty enticing. But at the same point, if you're looking for a bargain, my bargain of the week, regardless of position, is Phillip Rivers. He's only $7,000. He's cheaper than Bradford. $7,000 against the Dolphins. And we talked about the Dolphins secondary. You don't need to beat that up anymore. But he still had nearly 20 fantasy points last week against Denver. And if I'm using Rivers, I think it would be smart to stack him with either Keenan Allen or Tyrell Williams. And I'd probably give the slight edge to Keenan Allen there.
Huge edge. Yeah.
Do you have any quarterbacks you like?
I kind of went a different strategy with yours, so why don't you just keep going and I'll go my way.
Well, I didn't do a roster. I just want to talk about it.
No, I know. I understand. I'm not going to go through a whole roster. I'm just going to go through a couple guys.
All right, some running backs. I kind of like Mike Gillislee this week. Another thing I feel, though, he's coming off a big week, so can he do it again? But I was surprised that on FanDuel he's only $6,700 at the Saints. And we just saw Dalvin Cook torch the Saints. And a lot of people are saying with Mike Gillislee, well, he's only getting goal line carries, and that's where his work's going to come. So what happens when New England's not in the goal line? Well, he still had 15 carries that entire game. And if you look at the stable of running backs that the Patriots have, Gillislee's probably the one that most resembles your traditional running back, where Rex Burkhead is white, James White and Dion Lewis are more of like scat back type running backs. So I think of just like sheer consistency that Gillislee's your guy. So in my strategy this week for daily fantasy would be to go pretty cheap at running back, and I think Gillislee at 6,700 is a solid deal there.
We had very similar strategies that way, but went same team, different way. But I want to talk about that afterwards. So okay. I'm not on the Gillislee train. Okay. Simply because he only got the ball on 3rd and 1 and 3rd and goal and 4th and 1 and 4th and goal. So he's going to get like 7 carries a game or 5 carries a game. I just
totally said why that's not a thing. He still had 15 carries.
Yeah, but he's not the trust guy. James White is the guy that they're going to trust. He's going to get more carries. He's going to be out there on the field the most. He made the plays in the Super Bowl. He was out there more than everybody else. I don't think it's really even close.
Yeah, but I think too when you're thinking about fantasy, obviously you want touchdowns, and I just feel like Gillislee's opportunity for touchdown is so much greater.
Yeah, I'll get that. I disagree this week.
Well, you're going to be shocked by this other guy that I like because I've been shitting on him
I was
all.
going to shove this up your ass.
Well, let me say the name real quick. So the name is Ty Montgomery.
Yeah, shove it up your ass.
But if you go back, I don't remember what podcast it was, but if you go back to one of the podcasts that we did, I specifically told you I don't like Ty Montgomery in redraft leagues this year. But I'll probably use him more often than not in FanDuel. I remember specifically saying that because he's always dirt cheap. He's $6,500 against Atlanta. We just saw what Cohen did to Atlanta's linebackers in the passing game, and that's kind of Montgomery's same style.
Yeah, he had a rushing touchdown, by the way.
Yeah, he did. It was kind of a gift, but he got it. And
it was like 6 yards out still.
Well, I'm saying it was a gift that they even got the ball in that situation because that was when that whole weird play happened with the
just a fumble recovery.
Yeah, but we're talking about Montgomery going against Seattle and having 17 points, and that's a much better defense against the run and running backs than what Atlanta is. So I think giving a guy like Montgomery half PPR here makes him a steal. And even if it ends up being like last year in the Packers-Falcons playoff game where the Falcons kind of got away with it, or if it's a shootout, Montgomery's still going to be a factor because of what he can do as a receiver out of the backfield.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
Are you with me on Montgomery?
Montgomery, it's funny because our running backs, we have the same theory this week, go cheap, and we both went with the same two teams. I did go Montgomery, and I went James White.
Yeah.
But I went James White for different reasons than to highlight some of the positions I like. So.
Yeah. One guy that I would stay away from this week at running back in daily fantasy is Cohen. Dude, he's only $5,400. You know what that tells me? He is going to be in most every single lineup, and you don't want that. You don't want the guy that's going to be in all your lineups. He's probably my biggest candidate for a regression week. Yeah.
I absolutely agree with that. I went on record saying that people who are going all out to get Tarek, I don't know how you say his name, Tarek Cohen, something like that. I'm going to go with that.
You're fine.
I went on record and said that they're going to regret that, especially in like an auction type league, spending a whole bunch of money to get a guy who's going to get less than 5 points most games this year.
Wow, that's bold.
I don't think it's bold at all.
I don't know if I necessarily agree with that. I think he has a skill set where he'll be okay, but I don't think we're going to get like a huge playmaker. We're not going to get a touchdown out of him every week.
No, and I don't. He's still strictly third down backup to Jordan Howard, and I think even if Jordan Howard got injured, I don't think he'd still be the bell cow there. I don't think he'd be the first and second down running back.
Well, obviously his snaps would increase, but I think they would try to do something else. Yeah. I'm trying to think of who they just activated off the practice squad. I don't remember who it was now, Jeremy Langford got activated to someone's practice squad. That's what it was.
Did he? I thought he got cut.
He got cut by the Bears, but someone else just picked him up. Might have been the Ravens. I don't remember who it was now. Mm-hmm. Been drinking, so. Some receivers that I like this week. I like Julio Jones. He's my most expensive player. He's at $8,800.
Jeez, naming all my guys.
Dude, I saw this stat on Twitter. So when Julio was held under 70 yards last year in games, his next games were 5 for 106 and a touchdown, 12 for 300 and a touchdown, 7 for 139 and a touchdown, 8 for 111 and a touchdown, and then he had 7 for 113 and then 7 for 96 and a touchdown. Those are monster games. But what I'm thinking to that is that Julio, is that Matt Ryan, or is that coaching staff? Because if it's coaching staff and it's Kyle Shanahan, he's not in the building anymore. So that might change.
I think it's just the emphasis on getting him the ball. It's Julio Jones, so no matter what coach you are, your emphasis is going back to, hey, we've struggled. We should probably get Julio the ball.
Do you think that's is it as simple as that? They're just like, oh shit, we didn't give him that many yards and we sort of struggled on offense. Maybe we should go back to the best receiver in the league.
Probably the two of those two work that much harder together. oh shit. The week up to the game after that, I think they probably put a focus on their connection.
Right. Another receiver I like this week is your boy Davante Adams. And the reason I like Adams is because I want players in this game. That's why I have Julio. And if you're looking at a Packers receiver, I think you can get Jordy. I think he was like $8,100 or $8,300. Or you can get Adams, who might get the same level of production for $6,700. So in regards to a receiver, if you're looking for a bargain guy at receiver, I don't know if you can do much better than Davante Adams at $6,700.
Yeah. You know what the interesting thing about that game was? So I predicted Davante had a better game than Jordy, and I watched that game closer than probably almost anybody else listening here. And I predicted Davante to have a huge game because of the opposite. But they did the opposite of exactly what I said. They put Davante on the right side where he had Sherman on him all game.
Right.
And more of that stuff. And they put Jordy and kind of highlighted him on the left side. And then on the offside play that they actually scored on, it just happened to be Jordy running down the middle instead of Davante on that play. Really,
right.
It just came down to the right guy in the right place at the right time. They were all out of sorts, and Jordy was running that seam route there. But Davante when he was on the left side, he was getting the ball thrown to him. He was making plays. When Jordy was on the left side, he was getting the ball thrown to him. He was making plays. I think in this game, they're going to throw it left side, right side, middle. It's not going to be basically avoiding one side of the field like that. And Davante, I'm telling you right now, he's going to have better numbers than Jordy. And they're putting him at $6,700. I'm going to take that fucking every week.
Yeah, that's a steal, dude. I couldn't believe it when I saw that. I'm like, yep, that's almost like a guarantee to be in my lineup. So, all about that. One other receiver that I would recommend if you're looking for another bargain guy would be, we talked about it in the Dolphins situation here, is Jarvis Landry at $6,500. Like I had said, I just think the Chargers defensive ends are going to put quick pressure on Cutler. I think Landry leads in targets despite the whole like Parker hype. So that's why I give the nod to Landry this week.
Yeah, I'm not a Landry guy. I already said that. I'm more Devontae now that Cutler's there. What?
One tight end that I would recommend, and it's if you're going expensive at other positions and you need a bargain guy, I do like Antonio Gates against the Dolphins. Gates is only $5,300, and going back to what we were talking about him last year with that whole tight end record, he only needs one touchdown to become the all-time leader in touchdowns for tight ends. So I think they're going to give that record to him sooner rather than later. And if you've watched any Dolphins games over the last 5 to 10 years, they suck at covering the tight end. So if you're using Gates, I think you're kind of banking on a touchdown here. But if you're looking for a bargain tight end, Gates at $5,300 is a steal for me.
Honestly, we didn't talk about this at all, and I honestly think if you and I are any of the same FanDuels leagues, we're going to have the same team.
That's not good.
We're going to have at least 5 same guys.
Well, I don't have all those guys in my team. Those are guys that stick out that
I know, but we're going to have similar guys. The fact that you did your own thing, I did mine, and we have 4 guys probably that are around the same strategy for this league kind of weirds me out.
Well, good. Just tells me that everyone else probably is too.
Yeah, and I want to just highlight the running back and wide receiver position because I fill out an entire lineup, and I wanted to see what I liked and what I like, why I chose what I did. And when I was looking at the matchups, what I looked at, and you said it already, is the running backs I went really cheap on.
Yeah.
Because I ended up getting James White for $5,700 and Ty Montgomery for $6,500. Guys who catch the ball to the backfield in a half-point PPR league, who I think the Patriots are going to throw the ball around this week. I just think that's what's going to happen, and James White's going to be that guy out there who's out there when they're throwing the ball around, and when they get down close to inside the 10-yard line, he's going to run that little flat route where he catches it and just falls into. And Ty Montgomery is going to do similar things. They're basically the same running back, except Montgomery's going to get more carries, is more powerful. He's their first, second, and third down back.
Yeah.
So
I went just in one of the lineups that I did. I went so cheap at running back, and I'm still confident about it, that I had 2 stud receivers, and I still had money left over for Nelson.
Yeah.
So it's like I am going to use Nelson in a league, but I'm just like, oh my gosh, should I use Adams instead and then spend more on a quarterback? Like, how
check
do you?
out what I did.
I
I'll
don't
give
know
you
how to
exactly what I
justify
did.
that.
You're kind of referring to what I did. So Montgomery was $6,500 and James White was $5,700. $5,700 for I think the most trusted running back on that team. So the three wide receivers I put out here were Julio Jones, Devontae Adams, and Mike Evans.
Yeah.
Each one of those wide receivers last year.
Yeah.
In fantasy football.
Were you a little nervous about recommending Evans this week?
I will never be nervous about recommending Mike Evans as long as James Winston's on the football field.
I know. I'm just thinking about how the Bears. I'm just thinking about how the Bears kind of shadowed Julio and took him out of the game after a while. Like if they were going to do the same thing to Evans.
Give a shit who's covering Mike Evans.
That is true. Winston's going to take a lot more chances. That's the difference
between him and Matt Ryan.
Right.
He's going to give Mike Evans a chance no matter what happens.
That's true.
That's fact. Plus, he has Deshaun Jackson on the other side taking the cover off the defense. With those guys, I had Julio Jones at 8,800, Mike Evans at 85, and then Devontae at 6,700. I had so much money left with those running backs and wide receivers that I was able to put Aaron Rodgers as my quarterback.
I was going to say, that's what you could do, though. You could pick Rodgers or Ryan now at that point.
That's ridiculous. Ridiculous.
If you had to pick between one this week in daily fantasy, would you take Rodgers or Ryan?
Who do the Falcons have again?
You fucking with me?
I would take. I would probably take Aaron Rodgers because he's really good at revenge games and I'm a homer. But I just think that if it's tough because I want to see like the first couple of snaps on defense for the Packers.
I know.
I want to see how they cover Julio. If they don't have three guys on him, they're doing it wrong.
Right. Exactly. Well, it's because like I think that game from last year is just so stuck in my mind. It's like, oh my gosh, like I would almost take Ryan over him just because of what they did do. But then you look at the Packers secondary last week and just defense in general, like how they looked so much better.
They did look better, but they were also
well, they were playing a lot lesser offense. For sure.
Offensive line that I think may be the worst in football.
That is true.
So I would personally take Rodgers, but I'm always going to take Rodgers over Matt Ryan. He's a better quarterback. I mean, I guess I'm just going to take the better quarterback in the situation.
That's true. Do you have any other daily fantasy recommendations or thoughts?
No, because you said Gates, and that's the only other thing I was going to hit on.
We knocked them out. Well, let's do a couple. Let's do some quick listener fantasy football start sit questions. We'll run through these real quick so we don't take up too much more time. Rivers or Cousins?
God, I wasn't even prepped for this, so I didn't know.
Rivers, Miami, Cousins, Rams.
Well, that's the one I did know, and we already talked about it. I'd take Rivers in this one.
Yeah, I'm taking Rivers as well. I think he'll catch the Dolphins' young and inconsistent secondary a few times. Cousins obviously is the tougher matchup, in my eyes, the lesser quarterback. So I'd go Rivers all day in that one. Mark Ingram or Terrence West? Ingram versus the Patriots, West versus the Browns.
Jeez. That's a tough one. I'm going to go...
Got to clear your throat for this one. It's a big one.
I'm going to go Ingram because of, what's his name, got injured at linebacker, Hightower. And I think that he's going to get more focus on that offense because he looked like the best running back.
Okay, well, we're split on this one then because I have Terrence West. I think the Saints' backfield is a spread-out mess right now.
But Adrian Peterson sucks. He needs to go somewhere else.
He does. I think he's going to go to Tampa Bay yet. Give it time.
Not Tampa Bay.
Dude, I'm hooked on that,
with Doug Martin.
He could go to Arizona. How's that sound?
Arizona would be a good spot. Denver would be a good spot.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I think the Saints-Patriots game just becomes a shootout. Washington would be enticing, too.
Yeah.
I don't know if he'd want to go there, though.
Those aren't just good spots that I can think of, but Buccaneers like Doug Martin too much. I know you like trying to give them a running back, but they're not taking one.
I'm trying, man. I'm doing my best.
I know, GM Ben.
Thanks, man. I think that Saints Patriots game just becomes a little bit more of a shootout. I think that's more of a Kamara game. Whereas with Woodhead out now, I think the Ravens really going to feature West and Javarius Allen. So I'm going to go West in that one. Let's move on to Martavis Bryant versus the Vikings. Terrell Pryor also versus the Rams.
Are the Steelers playing at home? Do we know that?
It is at home.
Martavis Bryant.
Yeah. I'm going the same way with that. I don't like the idea of using people against the Vikings defense right now, but if there's one thing that kills a good defense, it's speed, and that's what Martavis Bryant has. So
and Antonio Brown as well.
Yeah. No, I don't know. I don't think that game's going to be super high scoring, but I could see that's the kind of game where Martavis Bryant will end up with 3 catches for 2 touchdowns just because of something stupid like that.
Yeah, I mean, Antonio Brown's going to get the majority of the coverage gone his way, and then Le'Veon option. So that leaves Martavis Bryant, who I think might be still a top 10 wide receiver in the league, one-on-one all day, every day.
Yeah. Next one, streaming tight ends. That's your deal. You're going to love this one. Are you keeping Jack Doyle in the lineup, or are you adding the likes of Cameron Brate, Jared Cook, Antonio Gates, Zach Miller, or Jesse James?
Funny, I had this exact choice today, and I went through a bunch of them, and I went with Antonio Gates because they're playing that Miami Dolphins defense, and I'm relying on that touchdown.
Yep.
With tight ends, I'm relying on touchdowns.
Oh, all day, yeah, absolutely.
Charles Clay got me the touchdown last week. Gates is going to get it for me this week.
Yep. I'm with you on that. Same reason you said and the same reason we said in Daily Fantasy.
Yeah.
And one final question, probably the best one. Beer choice, lager, ale. What's your beer choice?
This is a weird one because you can go dark or light on any of them. So it depends on, I don't like IPAs. I don't like Indian Pale Ales, too bitter. But I like blonde ales a lot.
Yeah.
So it just depends on the type for me. But I'm a big blonde ale guy type of fan, so I probably go ales here. But as long as it's not IPAs.
I try to drink a little bit with the season, but as you know from me, because I think you gave me a little bit of shit when we were in Mankato for Vikings training camp, because it was hot as balls, and I was drinking the darkest beer that the bar had. So as long as it's a dark beer all year round, give it to me. Give it to me.
Yeah. You're weird.
I have one more listener question that I didn't have on the agenda here. What the fuck was that? Andy Dalton, baby.
What happened?
You just threw that one away, but...
Oh, yeah. See, that's what I said to you. You must be 10 seconds behind.
Yeah, I'm a little bit of a delay. I'm on Mars.
I was wondering that. I think he lost the ball because I've never seen him throw like that in my life.
Maybe. I love Andy Dalton.
He airmailed the ball 500 feet over the guy. Oh, here we go.
That was
Wide
incredible.
open. Missed.
My question was... what was my question here? Let me think about this one for a second. Oh.
Jesus.
Deshaun Jackson or Stephon Diggs in a touchdown-only league. This may or may not be for myself.
Say that name again. Say the first name again. Say the first person's first name again.
Deshaun Jackson?
Deshaun or Deshaun?
Deshaun.
You're like Deshaun Jackson. Or who?
Or Stephon Diggs.
Who the Vikings have?
Steelers. Man, how many beers have you had today?
Well, you can't just spring a question on me like that.
Just did.
Deshaun Jackson. That's Bears. And then Steelers. Touchdown league?
Touchdown only.
Deshaun. I already forgot the other person.
Jesus. And on that note, we're going to wrap it up. Thanks, everybody, for listening.
Deshaun Jackson, long touchdowns.
I like it. Thanks, everyone, for listening. As always, tweet any questions you may have. Life advice, beer advice, relationship advice, fantasy football advice, whatever you may have on Twitter @LoadedBox. Check us out on iTunes. Tell your friends, tell your girlfriends, tell your side pieces. Let us know if you want some.
Tell your moms.
Tell your moms. Let us know if you want any parenting advice from DJ. He's more than happy to offer his 2 cents. So, on that note, good luck in your fantasy leagues this week too, and enjoy your week 1, Dolphins fans.
Bye.